answer me. Where were you when I created the universe? Where were you when I brought sun, the moon, into existence? Oh! Like God is going, yeah, answer me this. Where were you when all creation began? Before you were even in my thoughts. And Job goes, I'm sorry, you're right. I can't answer that. God's looking at us and saying, you're in the process of sanctification, the process. I like this time, you and me. Why? Because there's something about you coming and clinging on to me. The time together where I get to speak into you and you listen, and it's this relationship, this intimacy that we're building here. So the ministry of reconciliation, there's three big words, right? It kind of encompasses and titles, all falls into this thing of ministry of reconciliation. And so when Paul writes 2 Corinthians, he says, while we were God's enemies, Jesus came and he reconciled us, or God, to us. So he has given us the opportunity to step into his presence as his sons and daughters. We can get close to God as much as we wanted to, because there was this thing lingering over us called sin. So he comes and he goes, you can't do it. Man can't do it for you. Only God can. And that's why I'm here. So he dies on the cross and he reconciles us to God, and now we are his children, which we call adoption. God adopts us back into his kingdom. So what does this all look like? I'm going to share a little bit of my journey, and I think I have about 6 points. And I feel like each point could be like a message in entirety by itself, but I won't kill you with that. Right? So I'm going to kind of give you a snap picture of my life and what that looked like to start from the enemy of God into where I am now, okay, and this process, because it has been a process. It has been a long journey. And so, if anything, I want to encourage you, don't rush the process. Don't try to quicken it, because there's reasons behind all this. So, I was talking with Brother Sang, and we're long-lost old friends. Korean community population, a very small community, and we started talking, we're like, yeah, what? No! You were there? Me too? Like, it was fun. Right? And anyway, so third generation Christian, grandmother, my mother, and then me. But again, just because you're third generation doesn't mean you have a relationship with God. And so, but I thought I did. And so all my life I'm thinking I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, I go to church even though I don't want to, because it was so ingrained in us. Right? You don't miss church on Sundays. Like it was embedded in my brain. And so without fail, whether I was awake or not awake or at home, like it didn't matter. Like this internal clock went off Saturday night and go, tomorrow you must go to church. I kid you not. Right? And so Sunday morning, I mean, I am at the opposite end of where God is, and I still woke up to go to church. Okay? So this was my life. And so 3 years of in college, and then a little bit of just, again, backsliding and trying to find my independence and find my, I don't know, just purpose, I guess. And I'm dating this lady, dating this girl, and so I'm going, okay, like, I think it would be good to have a Christian girlfriend. And so I find out that she is going to this missions conference called Urbana. Right? Now, I don't know if Urbana still exists, but it used to be a very big thing in the like 90s, 2000. It's a huge missions conference where almost 20,000 from all over the world people were coming. And so one day she goes, hey, I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going to this missions conference. I go, really? Where is it? Oh, it's in Urbana, right? Illinois. I go, that's far, because we're in Maryland. And how many people? I don't know, 20,000. 20,000? That means 10,000 could be men. I must go with you. I'm just doing the math. I must go with you. I didn't care about missions. I didn't care about God. Right? It's like, you my girlfriend? No. The other half of the population? No. Okay, it's not going to happen. Right? So the jealous boyfriend signed up and went with her. So we're at Urbana, and it was amazing. 19,000, right? University of Illinois, worship. Oh, like, I don't care about missions and all that, but the worship was just powerful. Okay? But right after worship was done, these missionaries would come up and they start speaking about their organization, their testimony, their stories. And I still remember this lady, and I don't know who she is, but I know she was married, she had 2 kids. God had called her family to this cannibalistic island and said, I want you to go and witness to them. And she went. Right? And she said in the beginning it was really good. They received us, and we were kind of on the outside, and slowly we were kind of being welcomed. So we're going in, and I'm going like, you crazy? They're trying to lure you in, man, because you're going to be the next dinner. That's what I was thinking as she was sharing this. And sure enough, she goes, I don't know what happened, and they started turning on us, and they started coming after us with spear. And I go, see, I told you. I don't see. Like, you blind? Right? And she goes, and me and my family got into the canoe, and we barely made it out alive. Right? And as she was sharing this, like, I'm looking around, they're like, thank you, Jesus. Like, people are like crying, they're thanking God, and I'm going, no way. Lies. You are a lie. Who invited you to come and speak? Do they not know, right, that you are lying? Okay? So, one after another missionary, testimony, lies, lies. Am I the only one that sees the truth here? This is crazy. Honestly, and I'm going like, this is nonsense. I gotta get out of here. This is what people talk about when it says, you're in a cult and you're brainwashed, and you don't know it. Brainwashed. I'm the only one that sees the truth here. Right? So as much as I wanted to leave, I can't, because I'm, I don't know, a couple thousand miles away in Illinois, and home's in Maryland, and we took the bus. So I'm stuck and I'm miserable. So I'm like, girlfriend, you go do what you need to do, like I'm done. All right? So I'm in my room pretty much the whole time, and I think it was about the 3rd night, and I think like another day left. So about the 3rd night, I'm in my room by myself, and we're sharing a dorm with 3 other guys. So it's me and 3 other guys, like strangers. They just kind of stuck us in there, like, yeah, get to know one another. So I'm in my room, and I think they're all at the worship service, and I'm going, God, what the heck is going on? Like, you need to get me out of here. If not, man, I'm going to become like one of them, right? Like, I will be brainwashed, and I'm going to become, and my parents are not going to be happy. And, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of it. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm dialoguing with God, and I start like getting really angry because I'm so frustrated. And as I'm getting angry, I start like cussing. And I used to cuss a lot when I was younger. Right? Like every other word was F or S. Use your imagination. And so I'm dialoguing with God, and I'm cussing. I'm like, and I'm grumbling and I'm complaining. And about 20 minutes into this, I start crying. Right? Like tears are coming down, and I'm laying in bed. And I'm going, why am I crying? Now I'm more frustrated. Right? You stupid, why you, like I'm talking to myself. Like, why are you crying? I'm going crazy. Right? And as I am cursing and crying and complaining, I start bawling. Like that ugly, nasty cry, right? So this goes on for, I don't know, probably 10, 15 minutes. And as I'm laying there, all of a sudden, God shows me my life. And He goes, you grew up in the church, and you thought you knew me. Junior high in school, you left me, which I'll share in a bit. And when you left me, you thought I abandoned you. I never abandoned you. You walked away from me. Right? So, I mean, it was a really quick kind of a glance, but God's going, here's your life, and this is where you are. And the reason why I was crying and bawling was because I felt empty inside. Because I would look around, and even though I was going, brainwashed, stupid, lies, I'm going, what do they have that I don't? I don't understand. I grew up in the church. Like, why am I not believing their stories? Why am I thinking that they're brainwashed and that I'm right and they're wrong? Like, what is it? And the deep inside, the core of me, I realized that I was jealous. They had something that I didn't have, and I didn't know what that was. And so as I'm laying there crying, God showed me this glance in my life, and he goes, remember junior high? In junior high, and Brother Sam knows this church. It's right off where I guess his uncle used to live, Bellsville. And it was my uncle's church, and when we went, I hated it. Because it was like me and two other girls. That was our youth. Right? And because there was only like 3 of us, you didn't have youth pastors. We just kind of basically sat with the parents, you know, with their service. And you know, everything was in Korean, so as soon as the pastor began to preach, I just started zoning out. And this was like 2-3 years of my life, my youth. And then one day, this youth pastor came with his wife, and it was like Jesus showed up. Okay? He's teaching us new songs. He's teaching us body worship. Right? He's saying we're gonna bring other churches and we're gonna have a unity thing. I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. And first time in my life, in my walk with the Lord, or being in the church, I felt like there was fun and joy. 6 months later, he comes and he goes, I hate to tell you this, but we feel like God is calling us to leave, and we're going somewhere else. Okay? And at that moment, I said, God, if he leaves, that means you don't care about us. And if you don't care about us, then I don't care about you. And sure enough, next week he was gone, or that month. Okay? And so I checked out. And this is the picture God was showing me and said, you remember junior high? And I go, yeah. He goes, you left me, I didn't leave you. So what was God doing? He is reminding me all these things and he's saying, come back to me. I didn't leave you. He is reconciling me back to the Father. Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, no. And I go, I'm sorry, Lord, you're right. And I began to repent. So this is, again, happening in my room, laying in my bed by myself. Right? As soon as I got done, the only song that I knew at that moment, I don't know why, was Amazing Grace. Just the first verse. I think it's like 6 verses, right? And so I started singing Amazing Grace over and over and over again. And I remember just laying there weeping. And I said, Lord, I want to come back. I want you to be the Lord, Savior of my life. And I gave my life to Jesus that night. That was December 28, 1990. The funny thing is, I get done, and I look, and it's like 2 in the morning. And I'm looking around, and none of my roommates are back. So I go, man, worship must have been awesome. Okay? So I go out, open the door, and 3 guys are sitting outside the door hallway, right? And as soon as I opened, they're like, are you okay, man? Right? I go, yeah. We heard a lot of crying and cussing. Like, we didn't want to bother you. They thought I was possessed. We just thought it would be better to leave you alone, so we just waited until you came out. So I was like, yeah, I'm fine, man. You can go in. And I remember coming out of the dorm and walking, and that winter, Illinois, oh my God, it snowed every day. Sleet, rain. I mean, the whole campus was just white. It was covered in snow. It's 2 in the morning, so nobody's outside, and I'm walking around this campus, and I look up, and it is the most crystal clear evening. Stars everywhere. Right? And as I'm walking, I'm going, God, You changed the world. Oh my God, look at this. Beautiful. Everything is about me. And I remember walking around just shouting, you know, like, praise God, like as loud as I can. That next day, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these missionaries, pastors, speakers, and I'm going, amen. Sign me up. I don't know where that cannibalistic island is, but I will go. Jesus, your name will be preached. Right? I mean, it was night and day. What was the difference? It was God. I had made him my Lord and Savior, and what I couldn't do on my own as his enemy, God comes and he goes, I'm going to reconcile you to him. Justified. You will be glorified. But the journey of the sanctification was just the beginning. So from that moment on, I go, hey, it's done. Everything was done on the cross. I'm a new creation. Right? When Jesus died on the cross and he said, you know, it is finished, like my old is gone. Like I'm a new being. But I had a lot of baggages. We talk about skeletons in our closets. Mine was a two-door walk in, like it was one of those closets. But I just left it closed and I go, it's done. Like, Jesus took it all. So I don't need to deal with this anymore. I don't have to worry about it. Yes and no. Yes, the sin no longer carries with me because Jesus took it all. But there are consequences. Things that are left in our mind, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. I was going to say, there's so many of you sitting back there. It's like you should come up because if you sit in the front, it's like 4K. Right? You're in HD right now, 1080. Back row, the 720. Right? If you want 4K, come. Like if you sat down and looked at, you know, my body, like I have scars all over my body from injuries, sports injuries. As much as I want to get rid of them, and I'm sure if I did plastic surgery I could, right? But it's with me forever. And it's a reminder of the injuries and the pains that I went through. Right? So I'm healed. I have a full function of my arm. I broke my forearm, you know, 47 staples. Full function, no problem. Right? But the scar is a reminder that, hey, remember 91 when you broke your arm? Yeah. See, God took care of all our sins. He goes, it's done, it's finished. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Thank you, Jesus. But you and I, in this sanctification process, are constantly being reminded and going like, wow, there are consequences. Now, does that carry with us forever? No. So this is why God says, when you're in the sanctification process, come and lay it before me. Let's deal with this. Let's take care of it. Because I want you to be renewed. I want you to clean slate, but I want you to walk like you have a clean slate. I don't want you to walk and believing you have a clean slate and feeling like you're always paying a debt. Can you imagine if our kids go, Mom and Dad, thank you for raising me and changing my diapers. I am forever grateful for you. How may I serve you? All the fathers are going like, yeah. Nice. No. We don't want our children to look at us and go, I'm forever indebted to you, so how may I repay you? Usually when our children say that, we go, hey, just be happy. Live your life. Right? Be healthy. Follow the Lord. We're constantly going like, it's okay. It's okay. It was our pleasure to do what we did for you. That's God. And yet we always look and we go, how may I? How may I? Do I need to pay for that sin again? Do I need to? No, 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 no. It's done. But in the sanctification process, God is coming and goes, I want to renew you. I don't want you to live your life carrying this baggage. It's not good. It's not healthy. And so, 7 years into our marriage, 4 kids later, wife pregnant with our 5th, our marriage hit a ceiling. And it was one of those moments where I just said to myself, this is what it is. Yeah, honeymoon stage is over, now we're doing life, and we got kids, and so it's not awesome, it's not great, but it is what it is. Let's just make the best of it. That was my mentality. My wife, on the other hand, thank God for her, she goes, no, that's ridiculous. If this is what marriage is going to be like, I'm done. Okay? And she wasn't ready to leave me, but she goes, we need to do something about this. Okay? And she's so funny because, I mean, Andrew knows her well. She's a very gentle, like, easy, lovey, like this kind of person. But then when it comes to things that she's really passionate about, she's like a lioness. Like, you better watch out, right? I mean, I'm pretty dominant, right? And she's a peacemaker. So she usually be compliant, like, yeah, honey, whatever you want. And then when it comes to spiritual things and other things where I go, yeah, you know what, I don't know if I should give to the missions, thing. What? Get on your knees and pray unto the Lord. Like, that's how she becomes. Okay, honey, I'm sorry. So my wife goes, no, I'm not settling. I'm not taking this as okay. Like, something has to happen. And so for many years, she's going, we need help. We need help. And I go, no, you need help. I'm okay. God took care of it all. Don't you understand? When you gave your life to Jesus, He took care of it all on the cross. I don't know what your problem is. You need to let go. Let it go. Let it go. Right? Don't care about that no more. Like, I'm preaching this gospel to her all the time. She was like, no, I know, I understand that. But there are things in your life and my life, it is just, we're dragging. And we're bringing this thing with us when we don't need to. So she's like, we need help. So it got to the point, and the realization for me was, I remember coming home one day from church, and gosh, my kids when they're younger, they, as soon as I came home, they would, Daddy! They'd like hug my leg, and like I'll be walking, dragging them, kind of thing. Like it was beautiful. It got to a point where they began to understand that when Daddy comes home, he's happy, but if he didn't have a good day, then it's not going to be so pleasant. So my kids would come and they would greet me, and then they would disappear. Right? And at first I go, oh man, look at that. They're giving me my time. Smart kids. Right? Men need time to, just cool down and kind of get resolved so that when we're ready, we can go, all right, Daddy's ready now, come. Okay? So I'm going, hey, they understand it. This is awesome. So a few weeks go by, same thing. They just come. And once they leave, they never came around. Right? And I go, where's all the kids? They're either playing in their rooms or in the basement, right? And I quickly realized that my kids were going, let's greet Daddy, and then let's disappear, because if he didn't have a good day, he might lash out at us. It's a sad moment. See, it's one thing for my wife to say, honey, we need help, because she's an adult. But even though my kids didn't say it, I see it in their action. And so I remember going like, hey, what's going on with the kids? And my wife, being the very blunt, honest woman, she goes, well, it's you. They love when you come home, but 5, 10 minutes later, you're yelling, you're screaming, and you're reprimanding the kids, and they just figure it's best to just stay out of your way. Man, that broke my heart. Whew. So I said, you know what? Let's get some help. Okay. So up until this point, my wife was doing a lot of research. Like, what's a good Christian inner healing counseling that we can go and get? And we found one in Spokane. It's called Elijah House. And so we're like, okay, let's do this. And I remember as we signed up, they sent us a application that we had to fill out. And it was like 20 pages. I go, honey, here. You do yours, you do mine, you know me. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm so bad. And she goes, okay. So she's filling out the application questions. And one of the questions on the application asked, what was your parents' marriage like when your mother was pregnant with you? Okay? So when my mother was pregnant with me, and I'm in my mother's womb, what was their marriage like? I don't know. Mother, let's have a chat. Tell me about your marriage with Daddy. I only sit there and talk to my mom about her marriage. Right? Maybe I should have. And so I go, I don't know. So I go, Hannah, can you go ask my mom? So she was like, yeah, it's okay. And so my wife went and asked my mom, hey, Mother, how was your marriage like when you were pregnant with Young? And my mom begins to tell her. And she goes, well, actually, when I was pregnant with him, I was going to have them aborted. In fact, Young's father didn't want to have any kids when we got married. I'm the youngest of three. I have a sister, brother, and me. And every time when my father found out my mother was pregnant, he said, go have an abortion. My mother, being a Christian woman, said, no, I can't. So my sister was born. Pregnant with my brother, go have an abortion. No, my brother was born. She's pregnant with me. My father goes, we already have two, girl and a boy. We're only a third. Go have them aborted. And so she said, okay. So her and her sister went to the clinic. This is 1968 in Korea. And if you are old as me and you were in Korea, Korea was a third world country. All right? I don't know where you were born. I was born or grew up in YOUNG2, okay? Which I heard was kind of a rough area. Anyway, so she's at the clinic with her sister, ready to have me aborted. And so she's sitting there, and the doctor in the back room is boiling the instruments, right, in water, hot water, in a steel pot. And these metal instruments are, being boiled in water, and she can hear the metals like clanging. And all of a sudden, she comes to her senses and goes, what am I doing here? Fear of the Lord comes, and she runs home and says, I cannot do this. And I was born. So my mother is sharing this story with my wife. My wife, she's devastated. She is, can you imagine? Right? And so she comes home and she's like, honey, sit down. I need to tell you. Right? I go, I'm ready. And she tells me the story. Okay? And I'm going, wow, all right. Like, I am not fazed one bit. Okay? And this is how I processed. If she had me aborted, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know any better, so end of story. Obviously, she did it, and that's why I'm here. Way to go, Mom. Thank you. My wife looked at me and said, oh my gosh, you need help. I thought it was bad, but this is serious. I was so emotionally disconnected and dead. Even that story didn't faze me. I just said, hey, she be aborted, I wouldn't be here. Obviously she did, I'm here. Hey, it's awesome, I'm good. All right? She was like, oh my God, Jesus. So, counseling begins. And it's a 5-day intensive, 8 to 12. The lady who was counseling us said, make sure you have babysitters for your kids, right? Because afterwards, you're going to want to take a nap. I go, well, no, man, we're going to do is talking and listening. Right? But my wife is like, let's listen to her. Okay? It was so emotionally draining that, anyway, so 5-day intensive, and I'm just going to be the good husband and sit here and support my wife. Okay? And so the lady goes, let's begin with you. Yeah, it'll probably take a few hours. We'll be done. Okay? So, first day goes by. We're going to start with you tomorrow. Second day goes by. We're going to start with you again tomorrow. The third day goes by. We're going to start with you again. 4 days. My wife is sitting there. She is crying. I'm just sitting there like, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I see that. Ooh, yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Like, it was so demented. Right? And so on the 4th day, we get to that question. What was your mom's relationship with her husband like when pregnant with you? And she goes, can we talk about this a little bit? Well, yeah, sure, let's talk about it. Right? And she goes, as a baby, a fetus in the mother's womb, you are not fully developed, but we are of spirit being. Right? We are a spirit as God is a spirit. So I may not understand fully everything in my mind, but as a spirit, I am feeling and I understand. So she goes, imagine you being in your mother's womb and your mother was going to have you aborted. What do you think you were feeling? Right? And I go, rejection, abandonment, separation, right? Discard. I'm using these words. And she goes, yeah. She goes, death, murder, genocide, killing, right? And I go, yeah, I see that. She realized that my emotions were so dead, she's trying to shock me. Right? She goes, your emotions need to be shocked because they're just dead right now. She didn't say that. Right? But as she's sitting there, and she's using these words, and I'm going like, yeah, I see that. Right? And after about 15, 20 minutes, she goes, yeah, we're not getting anywhere, so let's do this. Let's forgive. I'm going to say this, and I'll probably say it a few more times. Forgiveness is the most powerful tool Jesus gave us, more than anything else. If you think about the cross and what it represented, him giving his life, right? It was the act of forgiveness. And so Jesus, as he's dying on the cross for your sin and my sin, he goes, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. Release any bondage, guilt, debt on them. I take it.